Hey, and welcome to HopCast.
Thanks for coming back, everybody.
I'm Brad Chmielewski.
My name is Ken Hunnemeder.
And we're getting down with the Reds.
Yeah. There's the, you don't really, no one seeks out a red beer anymore.
Okay, I was.
All right, I stand corrected.
But it's around St. Patrick's Day, so that's where the Irish Red Ale kind
Need
of
a Killian's.
shines. Yeah, all right?
Yeah, so we do have a Southside Irish Red.
Right.
There's nothing more Southside than the Irish.
Right. And
Here in Chicago.
From Hailstorm in Tinley Park.
That's correct.
Yeah.
This is just called their Southside Irish Red. And then we have a beer from Bell's. This is a new one. It's an India Red Ale, so this is going to be a little hoppier than this is supposed to be a malty red. So a hoppy red, but it's brewed with some honey as well.
Yeah.
So it's got a pretty high alcohol percentage with that honey in there. It's 7.5%. Also should be noted, these are like around 5 months, 6 months old.
Yeah, so the Bells we saw, it said shelf life 6 months. But what was it? Packaged?
We're just tucked inside of it, so we're still good.
On the bottom
but
it
it's
said packaged in September.
Uh-huh.
And this has a September date as well. So you have your Irish Red Ale packaged in September, coming out in March. What?
Who knows when it came out, but it's still on the shelves apparently.
Yeah.
We'll
Should we start with the hometown hero?
hometown multi-side, and then I think that sounds about
sweeter
right.
and alcohol up.
Yeah.
This is 5.6. So.
Yeah, there we go. We'll start with the Hailstorm.
So you're saying, when you pour that out, it looks pretty nice.
Yeah, it's got a nice, if you hold it up to the light, it's got a nice ruby, kind of coppery type of color to it, a little haze. It looks really good.
Coming out of the can, though, it looked like rusty.
It looks a little
rock.
murky. Yeah, a little murky.
But yeah, no, it looks
But if you hold it up, it's good.
Yeah. Little, thin coat of, a brown tan head here.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Yeah, quite toasty, biscuity, malty.
but very, I want to say, light aroma, almost gassy even. Not nitrous, but reminds me of that a little bit. Maybe it's the Guinness, I don't know. Something about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, not really smelling too much in the way of hops.
No.
This is a straight up malt forward beer, kind of old classic Irish Reds that you would think of around St. Paddy's Day.
All right, let's give it a try. All right. Very light tasting. Doesn't coat your mouth. It's thin, but maybe not in a bad way.
Yeah, it's the maltiness is a little sharp, so not super rounded and kind of full bodied and luxurious that way.
Uh-huh.
It's a little sharp and maybe a touch metallic.
Yeah, maybe that's the aroma kind of. I'm getting a metal gas kind of smell and taste. I don't know, something that I seem to find in sometimes nitro beers, because they're definitely there's gas in those, but it's kind of a similar aroma. But it almost feels really too light for the style to me. I'm almost missing some body.
Yeah, I definitely miss some malt body. When I'm drinking a malty beer, it's very different than when I'm drinking a hoppy beer. I want my hoppy beers typically to be very dry, whereas malty beers, I want that kind of smooth, fat, rounded body to it. Yeah. Just makes me feel comfortable.
Yeah, you want to feel almost full and warm.
Warm and toasty.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm missing that toast. But it's it's easy drinking. I think if it was
Definitely easy drinking.
maybe in a hot March day,
Mm-hmm.
that'd be too bad.
It's certainly not a bad beer. I I think it's just we're both craving a little bit more of that malt body to it.
Yeah, you think if they would have called it something else, not an Irish Red? Is it because it's called an Irish Red we have like different ideas in our head what it should be?
I mean, I don't think it's too far off from being I'm not saying, it's not an Irish Red. It just like leaves a touch to be desired without that rich malt flavor.
Do you have an Irish Red go to? I know you mentioned Killian's, but that's like a pretty common.
It's kind of a shame. I like Irish Reds, and you don't see them too much anymore. It's like a typical brew pub beer,
Right, yeah.
From like the 2000s that everyone had a brown and a red and a stout and an IPA, and a pale ale. But I don't really see too many Irish Reds around anymore.
No.
When you do, they're like hoppier takes.
Yeah.
So I will say it's refreshing to see someone making one.
Even the Red's Rye is like the Red Ale Rye.
That's a hoppy beer.
But that disappeared. Like I don't see those anymore either. The two brothers and founders, like I haven't seen those in a while.
Yeah, I guess it must not be a sexy style. The people that are doing them are kind of putting the India Pale Ale in the title to sell a little bit more beer, I think. Kind of capitalize on that.
Because also calling it Irish Red, once you're out of that February, March time,
it's got to be rough.
That beer's not selling, right?
Right.
It's too focused on.
I mean, that's when you see people buying like Guinness and Killian's and Harp is around that time, because that's like how we're marketed to, I guess, here.
Yeah.
But I think the rest of the year it's pretty tough here in the United States for Killian's Irish Red. I don't really see too many people walking down the street with a 12-pack.
No, yeah. And Guinness people only. We drank one recently because we were at Irish Bar.
That's when you'll get it is at an Irish bar, but I don't think anyone's going to the liquor store and picking up a Guinness, right?
Yeah, not really, unless you have a friend who maybe like just got in or is kind of getting into craft
unless
beer.
It's the Guinness IPA.
Oh. Yeah, but Hailstorm, I haven't had too much of their beer that I remember, and I haven't had anything that's like not gonna get Hailstorm again. So they're doing something okay. Like I haven't had a bad experience with them.
Yeah, this might actually be my first experience with them, but they're out in Tinley Park, which is a suburb of Chicago, real close by.
350 brewings out there too. So there's a couple little spots out there.
Yeah. So I'm gonna finish up this Irish Red and get a little more hoppy.
Sure. All right, we finished that Southside.
Finish the Southside.
Felt like we were saying we were a little harsh on it, but we enjoyed it.
Enjoyed it, just like there was just a little bit we wanted more from it. That's all.
They're local. We got high standards. We want to see these guys do well.
That's right. But going from a very small brewery here outside of Chicago to pretty substantial sized Bell's out in Michigan, they've got a huge brewery and doing very well. Is their Roundhouse Red IPA.
So this is, I think, a pretty new beer. Like it's in like little 6-pack boxes.
Yeah, it doesn't even really look like a Bell's beer. I was like, oh, what is that?
Like I only recently saw the cans of I'm blanking on the big IPA.
Two Hearted?
No. Hop Slam.
Hop Slam.
Like I only recently saw that, and like I realized I hadn't had a lot of canned Bell's beers.
Yeah, that's a fairly new thing for them. Yeah. So they're Roundhouse India Red Ale with some honey.
Okay. Let's give it a try. And that looks great in my good beer hunting glass.
Ooh, shout out. Yeah, it is a very nice looking beer. Kind of similar to the Hailstorm, but I would say just a touch lighter and maybe a little bit clearer.
Yeah. It's not like crystal clear.
Yeah, there's still a little haze to it.
Dark, like we can see, it has like that more like walnut kind of in the shadows.
I like that. Getting very descriptive.
I know, yeah. But it smells juicy.
Yeah, it's definitely got some hops in there. I think, like we mentioned before, this is a little bit old at this point. I'm wondering what this beer would have been like, just kind of fresh, straight off the line.
Yeah.
Because it still has a fair amount of hops on the nose, but I can imagine it being substantially different.
I think I don't know if that honey, it says it's with honey.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting like sweetness, but it's hard to tell if it's just a general sweetness or it's coming from the honey.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give it
Cheers.
a taste. That's just solid. Like that's what just comes to mind like when I think of it.
Yeah, quite good. It's nothing that's kind of the in vogue. It mentions juicy and tropical here. I don't know if I really think it's all that tropical.
Juicy, I get that in the aroma and kind of just like, I guess it feels like you bit into something where it like fills your mouth and like it's wet.
It's more piney for me than fruity on the tongue.
I don't know where the honey's coming from. I'm not getting that.
Honey is a tough one because it ferments out so easily.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that they're adding this and then fermenting it. They're not adding the honey after fermentation. Okay. So you may not get a ton of sweetness. You'll get some residual flavor from the honey being fermented, but I mean that's probably has a large contributing factor to the 7.5% ABV.
Okay. The increased sugars there.
Yeah, so what it can kind of do is increase the alcohol percentage while keeping the body a little bit lighter.
Okay.
Because it's not malt, you're not going to 100% ferment out malt. There's going to be some residual sweetness that's left behind there, whereas honey or any sort of like just pure sugar source will ferment completely out and will leave nothing behind.
Okay.
So Belgian brewers will do that. Like your triples or quads, they're adding sugar to it to like keep it nice and light and drinkable, but it's still, I mean, you got to watch out for those.
Super boozy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's at 7%, it doesn't drink like 7%. Feels light. Feels like you could easily finish a couple cans and then be like, oh, what happened here?
Yeah, for sure. I think I do pick out a little bit of that honey, and it kind of just connects the dots for me from the malt sweetness to the hop bitterness. It kind of acts as like a little bit of a bridge for me. But I don't know if I would have picked it out. Just I didn't drink it and be like, aha, honey.
There's honey. There must be honey in this.
Yeah. But if you look for it.
Yeah, I'd love to see it side by side with and without the honey. Then maybe you could kind of see or taste the difference a little bit.
Sure.
It'd be kind of neat.
But, Bell's, we're used to Bell's putting out fantastic beers.
And usually big hoppy beers, like they balanced hoppy beers.
Yeah, they become kind of known for that. I would say Two Hearted and Hop Slam are both kind of industry standards for IPA and double IPA. So out of nowhere, this just Midwest brewery just kind of became like kind of an archetypal hoppy beer maker.
Yeah, I think the daughter just took over, right?
Mm-hmm. I think Laura Bell, yeah. So Larry kind of stepping back a little bit, just getting up there in age. I know he thought about selling at one point, and then I think she was not interested in the business at one point or another, but it seems like she's kind of rethought that, and she's stepping in.
And it seems like I would think at this point, if they didn't sell, they're just going to keep going until they kind of...
It seems like that's the case, but there were multiple reports where he went on the record saying he was looking to sell.
Who's got the money?
Making no bones about it, but they've taken a different path at this point. So,
and I think Bell's is a brewery that's just in Chicago, where it's like we know if you get a Bell's, it's gonna be good.
Oh yeah,
safe, tasty.
Really cool brewery to check out as well. It's huge and beautiful. if you're out in Comstock, Michigan.
Right, and the food has gotten better, I heard.
There's always a little bit of a knock on the Eccentric Cafe, for sure. But yeah, I've never eaten there. I've took everyone's advice.
It's gotten better. So. All right, a couple good red ales, different takes on both of them, so it's kind of neat.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
Thanks for watching.